Hi, boys and girls. So I hope you enjoyed our story last week called The Bad Seed, and you learned some things that we talked about good decisions and bad decisions, and then that you also learned a little bit about the plant life cycle and things like that. So this week we're going to move on to the story Nerdy Birdy. And Nerdy Birdy is a book where Nerdy Birdy is our main character. Character is one of those words that we worked on last week when we talked about the character is somebody or some person or an animal or something in the story. So in Nerdy Birdy, we're going to be looking for something a little bit different. And Nerdy Birdy is the story, the author is Aaron Reynolds, and the pictures are by Matt Davies. Oh, so this week, instead of characters, we're going to move on and we're going to learn about the setting in the story. And the setting is when and where the story takes place. Now, the setting can change throughout the story. You can have lots of different settings if it's going to different places. So while we're reading the story, I want you to think about the settings that we see in the story. Now, here are some of the vocabulary words that we're going to need to know as we read along so we know that we understand. Our first vocabulary word is the word lonely. And somebody is lonely when they're sad because they don't have any friends or company. So you can see this boy is sitting by himself, so he might feel lonely. Our next word is scrounge. And to scrounge is to look around for and gather something. We talk about scrounging a lot when we're talking about animals like raccoons because they scrounge up food. They're always hunting for food from either the trash and different places. So you can see this picture of this raccoon scrounging up his dinner. Impress. Impressed means to make a strong and positive impact on someone or to amaze someone. So when you impress somebody, that means that they have a really good opinion of you and they think highly of you. Enormous. Enormous means very large. And so you can see this picture of a whale, which is one of the largest mammals. So it is enormous. And a flock is a group of birds that feed, rest, and travel together. So when we talk about birds moving together, they're always in a flock. All right, so we're about to start our story, Nerdy Birdy. And like I said, the author is Aaron Reynolds and the illustrator is Matt Davies. This is Nerdy Birdy. His glasses are too big. His wings are too small. And you can see he's kind of looking at a T-Rex because we know that T-Rexes and dinosaurs have those small arms. He's allergic to bird seed. When all the other birds are hanging out together at the bird feeder, Nerdy Birdie is scrounging for breadcrumbs. I'm going to give you a V because that's one of our vocabulary words. He's scrounging, so he's gathering up those breadcrumbs. Eagles, cardinals, and robins are the cool birds. Eagles have wind tunnel tested head, and they have impressively sculpted chest muscles, and they have abs of steel. And the cardinals have this glossy red pompadour. Pompadour is on top of its head. Glossy red attire or clothes, and also glossy and red. And the robin has beady eyes with superior worm vision, so they have very good sight. They have worm-fed physique, so they have this big physique, and they have feet, nothing to do with worms. Three things eagles are good at: hunting, fishing, and football. Three things cardinals are good at: singing like a rock star, and posing and attracting fans. Three things that robin is good at: picking on worms, insulting worms, and eating worms. So everything the robin has to do is with worms. Three things Nerdy Birdie is good at: reading, playing video games, and reading about video games. Eagles, cardinals, and robins don't care about reading. Hey guys, I just read the coolest book. Who cares? Said the eagle. Bookworm, said the cardinal. I eat bookworms for breakfast, said the robin. Or video games. Hey guys, I just defeated the earthworm king in World of Wormcraft. Who cares? Nerd. I eat earthworms, not digital ones. One day, Eagle flew off to hunt. Robin flew off to terrorize worms. And Cardinal flew off to impress his fans. So remember, impress means to make them think highly of. And Nerdy Birdie was alone. One thing was clear. It was awful lonely not being a cool birdie. Why don't you hang around? Why do you hang around with them? They don't even like you. But they're so cool, said Nerdy Birdie. Trying to be cool is exhausting, said the new bird. You should hang out with us. Us? Us. After all, there's always room for another nerdy birdie. Their glasses were too big. Their wings were too small. At least half of them had birdseed allergies. They all liked to read. And most of all, they liked to play World of Warmcraft. They were exactly like Nerdy Birdie. And then he realized something. There were way more nerdy birdies than cool birdies, and now they were all his friends. Eagle didn't have any friends. Eagle hunted alone. Cardinal was always showing off. He had no friends. Know why? Because he was always showing off. Robin was too obsessed with worms to make friends. One thing was clear, it was awful lonely being a cool birdie. But then a new bird moved into the neighborhood. The cool birds were unimpressed. Hey guys, she gives me the creeps. Why does she always wear black? It's so depressing. She eats what? And while they're saying that is because it's a vulture, and vultures like to eat dead animals. So the other birds are not impressed by that. The cool birdies flew away and left Vulture alone. Why would you want to hang around with them? Being cool is exhausting. You should hang with us. Us? Us. After all, there's always room for another nerdy birdie. Right, guys? Hold it. Where are her glasses? Where is her lightsaber? And have you seen what she eats? Blech. She is most definitely not one of us. Nerdy Birdie was confused. But there's always room for another nerdy birdie, right? That's the problem. She's not a nerdy birdie. She's just weird. Nerdy Birdie looked at his flock. Remember, flock is a group of birds, of friends. The telephone wire was packed with them. He looked at the new bird, sitting there all alone. And one thing was clear. It was awful lonely being alone. This is Nerdy Birdie. His glasses are too big, his wings are too small. This is Vulture. She wears contact lenses, and her wings are enormous. Vulture eats dead things. Nerdy Birdie does not. Nerdy Birdie likes video games. Vulture does not. Nerdy Birdie and Vulture don't like the same things, but they really like each other. So even though our friends like different things, we can still be friends with them. If you ever need a friend, you can hang around with them. After all, there's always room for another friend. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed our story today. You can kind of see as we go back through the book, I want you to think about where the setting was. So if I look at some of the pictures, let's go back out here. Obviously, the setting in this picture, would this happen inside somebody's house? No, it's out on telephone wires, so you know that the setting is going to be outside. Let's go back a little bit. What about right here? Would this happen inside? No, we can just say that for the setting of this book, it's mostly outside. Okay, and you can see, you can even talk about how the birds flew away to different places. So it might be in some of it, you might see a park, but in other times you might see a neighborhood. So this week, as you're reading through different things and reading your books on Epic, I want you to be thinking about the setting of the stories. Okay, thank you so much for listening,